If your dog is showing a body language signal and their head is turned away, but their eyes are locked on you, showing the whites of their eyes, stop what you're doing immediately. This is called whale eye, and it's one of the most misunderstood warning signs in the canine world. Every year, 4.5 million dog bites happen in the United States alone. Roughly half of those involve children, and nearly half of those bites get described as unprovoked. But here's the thing, they almost never are. The dog was communicating the entire time. We just didn't know how to listen. Today we're going to change that. Whale eye is when your dog turns their head slightly away from something but keeps their eyeball fixed on it, so the white part of the eye, the sclera, becomes visible as a crescent-shaped sliver. It looks almost like a half moon in the corner of the eye. And the name itself has a surprisingly literal origin. It was coined by canine behavior specialist Sue Sternberg, who explained that whales don't have necks that rotate, so when they want to look at something, they move their eyes more than their heads, which naturally exposes more of the white. Patricia McConnell, one of the most respected animal behaviorists in the world, traced the exact origin in her book, For the Love of a Dog. She wrote that the term actually came from a client of Sternberg's who had been observing real whales and noticed how their eyes always showed the whites no matter which direction they were facing. McConnell herself has another name for the expression. She calls it the horror movie face, that moment when you try to turn away from something terrifying but can't stop looking at it because, well, it's scary and therefore dangerous. And that emotional comparison is exactly right. When a dog shows whale eye, they are almost always experiencing some form of stress, discomfort, fear, or uncertainty. They're turning their head away because they want to disengage, but they can't take their eyes off whatever is making them uneasy because they perceive it as a potential threat. This is dog body language at its most honest, and it's begging you to pay attention. Now here's where context matters. Not every flash of white in a dog's eye is whale eye. If your dog is lounging on the couch, ears relaxed, body loose, and they lazily shift their gaze toward a sound in the kitchen, that's just curiosity. During play, you might see the whites of their eyes when they're rolling around with a toy, mouth open, tail wagging. That's excitement, not distress. And certain breeds, particularly brachycephalic or flat-faced breeds like pugs and French bulldogs, have large, prominent eyes that naturally show more white. That's just anatomy. The key is reading the full picture of dog body language, not just one piece of it. When whale eye appears alongside a stiff body, a closed mouth, pinned back ears, or a frozen posture, that's your signal. That dog is not okay. One context worth naming specifically: if whale eye appears when a dog is near their food bowl, their favorite toy, or a high-value treat, that's often a sign of resource guarding. Resource guarding is when a dog feels they need to protect something valuable, and whale eye is one of the earliest signals that tension is building. Dog body language illustrator Lily Chin, whose doggy language illustrations have become the most widely shared visual guides in this niche, highlights exactly this kind of subtle stress signal in her work. If you haven't seen her drawings, they're worth looking up. She's made this science remarkably accessible. And this is where we need to talk about something called the ladder of aggression. Devised by veterinary behaviorist Kendall Shepard in 2004, the ladder of aggression is a visual model that maps out exactly how dogs escalate their communication when they're uncomfortable. Think of it as a staircase. At the bottom, you have the quietest signals: yawning, lip licking, blinking, turning the head away. These are what Norwegian dog trainer Turid Rugas famously calls calming signals, subtle behaviors dogs use to diffuse tension. Rugaas published her groundbreaking book On Talking Terms with Dogs in 1996, and it's now available in over 25 languages. She identified roughly 30 distinct calming signals that dogs use, and she made a critical observation. Dogs use these signals toward humans because it's the only language they know. They assume we understand it, and when we don't, or worse, when we punish them for it, the consequences can be devastating. It's also worth understanding the concept of bite inhibition here. Bite inhibition refers to a dog's ability to control the force of their mouth, something they learn through early socialization with littermates and during puppyhood. A dog with good bite inhibition has a built-in safety mechanism, but that mechanism has a threshold. And the ladder of aggression maps exactly what happens when that threshold gets pushed. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior, known as a VSAB, emphasizes that understanding this escalation sequence is foundational to safe, humane dog handling. As the late Dr. Sophia Yin, a pioneer in low-stress handling and fear-free veterinary care, also taught, every dog bite is a communication failure, not a character flaw. As you move up the ladder of aggression, the signals get louder. Whale eye sits in the middle zone, that critical transitional space between subtle discomfort and overt warning. Above whale eye, you get freezing, growling, showing teeth, snarling. And at the very top of the ladder is a bite. A bite is never a dog's first choice. It is always the last resort of an animal that feels it has no other option. As one behaviorist put it, a bite will never happen out of the blue, but it is a dog's final reaction when it feels exceptionally insecure and cornered. This is exactly why animal behaviorist Colby Julian says you should never ignore whale eye. It's a non-violent distress signal. If that signal gets ignored, the dog may have no choice but to escalate to aggressive behaviors, including biting. And this matters most when it comes to children. Of those 4.5 million annual dog bites, roughly half involve kids. Children in the 0 to 4 age group are at the highest risk for injuries requiring hospital treatment. 7 out of 10 of those injuries happen in the child's own home or at a family member's house. Almost 90% of the dogs involved were already known to the child. These aren't stranger dogs. These are family pets. And research has shown something heartbreaking. When shown images of dogs' facial expressions, children frequently cannot interpret what they're seeing. They will look at an angry, stressed dog and describe it as friendly and approachable. They simply cannot read dog body language. And honestly, many adults can't either. Studies have shown that even dog owners struggle to correctly identify the subtle behavioral changes that appear in the early stages of emotional arousal. Even professionals using standardized assessment tools show lower agreement when scoring subtler behavioral categories. So what should you actually do when you see whale eye? First, stay calm. Do not raise your voice or make sudden movements. Second, give the dog space. Do not move closer. Do not reach out to touch them. Let them move away if they want to. Third, identify whatever is triggering the stress, whether it's another animal, a person, a sound, a situation, and calmly remove either the trigger or the dog from the environment. And critically, never punish a dog for showing whale eye or growling. This is one of the most important principles in modern dog behavior science, endorsed by organizations like AVSAB and practitioners trained in fear-free and low-stress handling. If you punish a dog for growling, you don't eliminate the fear. You just eliminate the warning. And a dog that has learned its warnings get punished is a dog that skips straight to biting. Over time, if your dog frequently shows whale eye in specific situations, that's also a candidate for counter-conditioning, a behavioral modification approach where you gradually change a dog's emotional response to a trigger by pairing it with something positive. It's one of the most evidence-backed tools in force-free dog training, and it works precisely because it addresses the underlying anxiety rather than just suppressing the symptoms. The financial reality of dog bites underscores how seriously we should take this. According to the most recent data, insurers paid out approximately $1.57 billion in dog bite-related claims in a single year, with over 22,000 claims filed. That's a dramatic increase from just a decade ago. The U.S. Postal Service reported over 6,000 dog attacks on mail carriers in the most recent year tracked. These numbers represent real injuries that, in many cases, could have been prevented by recognizing one simple crescent of white in a dog's eye. Understanding whale eye isn't just about preventing bites. It's about building a better relationship with your dog. Every time you notice that signal and respond by giving your dog space, removing a stressor, or simply backing off, you're telling your dog something profound. You're saying, "I hear you, I understand, and you're safe." That builds trust. That deepens your bond. And that creates a dog who feels confident enough to never need to climb that ladder at all. So the next time your dog turns their head but keeps their eyes locked on something, and you catch that telltale flash of white, don't scroll past it. Don't laugh it off. And definitely don't lean in for a photo. Listen to what your dog is telling you, because they've been talking this whole time. The question is whether we're finally ready to understand.